In this tip video, I wanted to show you how I go about painting the stripes on this patterned Phalaenopsis orchid. It might look simple, but with watercolour you can always run the risk of painting too dark and then not being able to lighten things up, and the same goes for these stripes. It would be quite easy to paint them either too light or too dark. Because tone is relative, the way that we judge if the stripes are too light or too dark is by comparing them to the tones immediately around them. In this case, the white of the petal, which is why painting the stripes is as much about painting the space around the stripes as the stripes themselves. So we start as always with an outline drawing based on a photograph, and I draw in the most prominent stripes lightly with a pencil. I begin by painting the shadow areas on the petals lightly with very watery grey paint, adding in yellow ochre or violet where needed. This helps to give the petals form. Once the background in the painting as well as the flower stems have been darkened, it's easier to see how much darker the petal shadow areas can be taken, and I add another layer of the watery grey mixes to those parts that need it. The paper is completely dry by now, so no muddying or bleeding occurs. Next, I paint the dark patterned flower centres, and again this allows me to then see how much darker I can paint the petals, and I apply another layer to them, making sure I'm careful to soften any hardline edges I might get with the paint. Finally, I'm ready to paint the stripes. The stripes are quite dark in tone, meaning the paint will need to be used fairly thickly. So if I hadn't spent time gradually darkening the white petals, I would have found that I'd have to darken the petal around them, and doing this with the watery grey paint would have caused those stripes to bleed. I use my tiny brush and I apply the purple paint in rough, jaggedy lines to match what I see in the photograph. And I change both the consistency of the mix and the colours in the purple mix to make the colour lighter or darker in tone to match the stripe I'm working on and make sure I get lighter towards the edges. The stripes are so dark that although I really tried to get the white parts of the petals as dark as they should have been before I painted the stripes, it's only once they're painted that I can see how much darker to paint some of the areas around them. So I go back to my watery grey mix, but this time I use a smaller brush and carefully apply the paint around the stripes where the stripes are darkest and therefore most likely to bleed. So by gradually building up in layers, I can accurately assess and paint the stripes and crucially the colours around them too. A full step-by-step tutorial of this orchid is available as part of my online school, and there's also another free tip video available showing you how to paint this textured background. If you've enjoyed this tip video, please visit animationart.com where you can sign up for a free step-by-step tutorial, check out the equipment I recommend, view more tip videos, get inspired by my portfolio and lots more. Thanks for watching.